with our new township manager on Thursday, September 26th at the Rota Center from 6 to 8 p.m. So please join us for that. And council met in closed session earlier this evening to discuss the following: contracts, affordable housing, the potential sale of township property, personnel, legal issues and opinions regarding items on the open session agenda, litigation updates, and Oprah. Before we move on to the first order of business, can everyone please bow their heads for a brief moment of silence for Lou Tabaldo, who passed away recently. And Lou was a life member of TVAC and previously served as TVAC president, and he also served on the Board of Adjustment and on the Patriotic Observance Advisory Board. Please bow your heads. Thank you. Our first order of business today is a proclamation, Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, and I was asked to read it into the record. It's short, it's only 3 paragraphs, so please bear with me. Whereas New Jersey is in the midst of a life-threatening opioid abuse epidemic, and whereas the Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey has designated October 6th as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, an initiative with multiple purposes to raise awareness of the potential for dependency on prescribed pain medicine and its link to heroin and fentanyl use in our state, to reduce stigma of addiction and shine a light on the need for recovery support, and to communicate to physicians information on the safer prescribing messages found in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention guidelines for prescribing opioids, which include considering other therapies, setting realistic treatment goals with patients, and discussing with patients positives and negatives of opioids. And whereas the State Senate and General Assembly jointly resolved that October 6th shall be permanently designated as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day in New Jersey in order to raise awareness about the dangers of and the link between prescription opioid misuse and heroin addiction, and to educate healthcare providers, community leaders, state lawmakers, and members of the public about the opioid abuse epidemic and its effects throughout the state of New Jersey and across the country. And whereas Children's Aid and Family Services, the Center for Alcohol and Drug Resources, and the Bergen County Prevention Coalition support initiatives designed to raise awareness about opioid abuse in New Jersey and take steps to prevent addiction. Therefore, be it resolved that October 6th be recognized as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day in TNAC. And thank you all for your attention to that matter. Our next order of business is the 2024 Matthew Feldman Awards, and Deputy Mayor G, you are the liaison, so the floor is yours.
I was looking at.
Cool.
I'm gonna hand it off to Cheryl to kick off, and I'll come join.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
It's the one to lovely on the video. Good evening, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to be before you today as the current chair of the advisory board on community relations. And we have our only humanitarian award that we give out for this township, the Matthew Feldman Award. Matthew Feldman was the first Jewish mayor and senator for New Jersey. And really this year, we received the most amount of nominations throughout the community. So I want to thank everyone. I know I went to every meeting asking you for nominations. And really, tonight's recipients, it is a true reflection of the TNAC community. Your voices were most definitely heard. Earlier today, President Biden said the following: the forces that bind us together are stronger than the ones that tear us apart. These people that were nominated and won the award exemplify that to the highest degree. And you know what someone once also said, what we leave behind is not as important as how we live. And the incredible life example that we have in our winner for the 2024 Youth Awards with Rada and Leoria. And also I would like everyone to, from ABCR, to come up with me. Right now is Deputy Mayor Jean will present the award. I'm just hoping that Rhonda will make it, I'm not sure. She's coming from, I believe, Rutgers, New Brunswick, so. Great. Wonderful. And also for our adult winner, is Dean Kuzinski. So I will turn everything over to Deputy Mayor Jean. I just wanted to give out the actual awards. I wanted to remind everyone, there are always possibilities. Hope is possible, and it is exemplified in these people here in Teaneck. So if we want it, we can have peace and a great community, if we desire that. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. I think it'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the reason we had over 20 submissions was due to the hard work of our ABCR chair, Cheryl Hall. I've never seen a chair send out requests for nomination as frequently and as consistently as she did. She worked so hard to ensure that every potential leader was identified and recognized. And honestly, Cheryl, you made the job more difficult for yourself. Because she found so many deserving community servants that they spent, this amazing group of volunteers, they are volunteers, spent hours discussing these amazing community servants and ultimately chose two very deserving winners of these Feldman Awards. So I just wanna, one more round of applause to Cheryl Hall. And really, okay. I was trying to solve it for Rob, I don't really make it. So let's start with our adult award. So for 2024, our adult award winner for the Matthew Feldman Award is none other than our former township manager, Dean Kuzinski, who has over 40 years of service to the township of Teaneck. I could not think of anyone who was more deserving, so please do come.
Right, should I take it out or should I? You can take it out. All right, I don't want to get fingerprints on it. All right.
No.
Your phone, don't take all this damn thing.
Any words, Steve?
I'm kind of envious of Jacqueline here because I heard the first three meetings that she's had as manager have been relatively short ones. And I'm accustomed to 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, 1:45. I think that was the latest we went, but I just wanted to thank the ABCR. You know, this has been an incredible journey, life journey for me. My career actually started in this room, the beginning of 1984. I did some part-time work back for the town prior to 1984. But it all began in this room where I was sworn in as a police officer back then. I've met so many wonderful people along the way, did a lot of coaching for the town, volunteer work for the town. There is no greater achievement for me than working in a town that I was born and raised in and serving the residents of Teaneck. It's truly a privilege. It's a humbling experience for me. I've had the opportunity to work with some great councils, everyone here on the dais, previous councils, the workforce have been incredibly good to me. The residents have been incredibly good to me. And, you know, I hope I made a difference in the town. Working here, being part of the town, being part of the events, Teaneck will always be a part of my life. I will always call myself a Teaneck resident. And I just thank everyone here so much, the ABCR, and I will truly hold Teaneck close to my heart. And as I said this before, my last council meeting, my hope for this town is, you know, peace, unity, and respect for one another, that we can get along. We're going to have our differences, make no mistake, but, you know, we really, I was raised that way. This is what this town is all about. And I hope we just work very hard again, just to promote peace, unity, and respect. So thank you so much, everyone. This truly means a lot to me, and hopefully I'll see everybody soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you again, Dean. I mean, of course, Dean was our town manager, but he just always went above and beyond. And that is the reason why we gave him this award. I could not think of a town manager who's more deserving. So thank you again, Dean. All right, next up, we have our Youth Matthew Feldman Award. This goes to both Leora Pelivan and Rada El-Batrawish. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I know Rada's not here yet, but Leora, we would love for you to join us up here to accept the award on her behalf. I think most of you know their story, but these two brave students did a phenomenal job of bringing a community that at the time was really divided together, bringing folks together for listening and understanding, and bringing community building in a time that was really difficult. They were so successful that other student groups around the country were asking for them to come speak to them. I mean, they are really true examples of community leaders at such a young age. So that's right. And they were featured on national news source, the Washington Post front page. So congratulations. I'm going to step aside and get your award.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know what the Matthew Feldman Award was until I looked it up when I saw it on TNEC today, but I had to relook him up and like the award when I got told I was I was the recipient of the award, and I'm really thankful for it. I know we haven't been as active and through a deeper lens, but I'm still really active in the TNEC community, and I want to thank everyone for like coming to the events and supporting all the events. And I'm going to continue to advocate for all the students in TNEC with my role in the Board of Education with Student Council. So thank you.
Thank you.
I think she should be here.
Yeah. Well, actually, Mr. Mayor, are we going to have our reception first? Okay. I defer to you, Mr. Mayor.
Honorees or the Matthew Feldman Awards. Mr. Schwartz, you'd like to start us off?
So I think what we can do is how about we speak now, do the reception, and then if Rauda shows up, we then
Excellent.
present her award.
Excellent. I'll jump in. I want to
Yes.
thank the ABCR. It's been an incredible job. Cheryl, you speak so nicely, and I never knew what your degree was, and you've told me what your degree is, but now I know it's the words your I think it's theology degree, correct? I never really knew what that was until I heard you speak, and you did such a great job. The ABCR, the last few months, I think everyone in this room can agree, everyone in the town has really made a concerted effort to really tone everything down. And I think we would all be it would be wrong if we deny that hasn't happened. And it's really due to everyone in this room, especially led by our ABCR. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dean. One day you'll have to give us like a little speech on how to pronounce your last name, because it's been maybe after 80 years, you'll tell us all. And then of course to our youth leaders who have a great future ahead of them. And we look forward to all their leadership in the future as well. Thank you everybody for coming out, and I look forward to not eating cake.
Well, it's always good to see Dean return. It's always a pleasure to really award anything to our community, because I think service is the rent that we pay to live in Teaneck and to make it a better town. And I think that whenever we have an opportunity to showcase the accomplishments and the heart, the true heart of our community, it is certainly something that we want to celebrate. I'm just delighted to think about the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, who said, "If we can help someone as we pass through this life, then our living is not in vain." So I want to, echo to the young people that had received this award, your energy and your efforts to try to mend the hurt and the pain within our community is something that we celebrate in terms of your ability to do that. And here again, Dean, thank you for being our town manager and serving our town for as long as you did. Thank you.
So we call this the good stuff, and I love nights like this. Thank you, ABCR, for bringing it to us. Thank you for bringing Dean back to us. An excuse, we'll see if he and Jackie balance each other out tonight, if we get out at somewhat normal hour. And thank you to our young recipients. I'm very glad that we have instituted the young leader recipients award. I think that's really important. Thank you.
Ms. Organ, Ms. Goldberg.
Yeah, so Deputy Mayor Katz couldn't be here tonight, and we were actually gonna talk together. So we kind of wrote this a little bit together. So Deputy Mayor Katz and I were privileged to both know Maddie. Ellie's a little older, but our families were actually together and the last to see Maddie alive before he died that morning. And former Mayor Jackie Cates and Deputy Mayor Katz are credited with the creation and the naming of the award that you guys are receiving tonight. So just a little bit about the man behind the award. So Maddie really understood what unity meant. So about 60 years ago, this town was also having division and it ran very deep. So he created the Advisory Board of Community Relations. And he really believed in dialogue and building a stronger TNAC. And his dedication and commitment to TNAC really set him apart. And that's what makes this award so special. This award is not about politics. It's about true service to TNAC and leadership that transcends the moment. It's about real and meaningful work that leaves lasting impressions on all of us. So on behalf of the entire community and of the council and of my family, I want to thank you all for your extraordinary service to TNAC. You've earned this award, and more importantly, you've earned the respect and gratitude of TNAC.
Goldberg. Thank you, Deputy Mayor G, and thank you, Cheryl, and thank you to all of our advisory board members for working so hard on this. But most importantly, thank you to our honorees for everything that you've done for TNAC to help TNAC get through these difficult times and everything that you've done for the past 40 plus years with our police department and the municipality. So on that note, I'm going to move for a 5-minute recess so that we can all have some cake and celebrate. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Please join us for some cake outside, everybody.
We're waiting on you, Doug.
Doug, I have to make a motion to reopen, right? Yeah. You ready? Doug, you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? We're about to restart the meeting. I move to reopen the meeting. There you go. There's a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting back in session,
Deputy
please, in
Mayor-
the audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we could please have your attention, one of our honorees has joined us. Deputy Mayor G, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Sure. Can I ask Cheryl Hall and all the ABCR members to join me up here once again? We'll make it quick. And at this time, I would like to call back to the podium both Leora and Rauda to accept this award, the Matthew Feldman Youth Award for your dedication to community service here in Teaneck. Hold on one second.
Can we please give them a round of applause? Yeah.
Yes. And Rauda, since you missed this earlier, I'm going to just say it again. I know all of you heard this, but Rauda and Leora, through their work on the A Deeper Lens and A Lens for All, a series of youth-led interfaith educational conversations to promote healing and understanding, they were featured on the Washington Post and have made all of us at Teaneck so unbelievably proud. Thank you so much for all you've done to bring this community together through one of our most difficult times in this last year. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm the one who should be saying thank you, not you. But it really is an honor to receive something like this, especially from everyone here, because you all played a part in it. It wasn't just Leora and I. This would not have been possible without all the hate that we got and all the support as well. So thank you so much, you all. And I definitely plan to keep going with Leora as well. I know she's definitely going to keep going, especially in politics. But this is not the end. This is not the end. An event like this should not have just been happening twice and should not have been such a huge thing to everyone. This should be the norm. This should be what we strive to do regularly, not what we get awards for. Thank you, though.
Want to just take one picture all together? And then, because we didn't have. Does someone want to take, you want to get in it, Deputy Mayor?
While you're here.
Congratulations and thank you once again to all of our honorees. We appreciate you. Is council ready to move on to the next order of business, which is work session items, miscellaneous? Does anyone on council have anything for miscellaneous? Seeing no hands, what about old business? Does anyone have anything for old business on council? Does anyone have anything for new business? Moving right along, anybody got anything for communications? Committee reports.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
On the
Schwartz
committee
and Ms.
reports,
Belcher.
yes, 3 quick reports. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
First on our budget, we continue to have conversations about looking for ways to reduce next year's budget increase. So we'll keep on going about that every day until next budget's approved. As it relates to the Ceremonal Management Group, Halloween is coming up. Keep in mind that we are working with the Larch Avenue neighbors with Pagoda. We do that kind of party down on Larch Avenue, which gets shut down. So if anyone's around, mark your calendars. It's a nice little night to stroll on down, say hi and to everyone on the street. Lastly, sub-zoning committee has not met and therefore there is no report in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Ms. Belcher, and then Deputy Mayor G.
Okay, I just want to give a quick update in terms of Affordable Housing Subcommittee. We've been just really in the reporting stages right now in terms of compliance for the Department of Community Affairs. So we continue to work very closely with our town manager and CFO, who's working diligently to provide the numbers and the reporting. I just want to mention the Historic Preservation Commission had a wonderful dedication of a marker for Bryan School. Thank you to the community that came out in support of it. It was a beautiful, beautiful event. We thank our iconic Theodore Lacey, who spoke as a keynote speaker, and I encourage those that were not there to go by and see the marker. It's one of our larger markers within the township. So the Historic Preservation Commission meets tomorrow night, and I'll be at that meeting. And lastly, the Chamber of Commerce met last week, and they're working on, of course, their annual fundraising event that you all should be hearing about and buying tickets for soon. Thank you.
Yes, so I was also going to just say a quick shout out to to really Doug. You did a phenomenal job with supporting the Historic Preservation Committee and the Board of Ed, and really being the glue between the township and the Board of Ed to put on what I thought was a phenomenal commemoration of the plaque. And I mean, everyone who was there really enjoyed it. And I think we need to be doing more of that, that partnership. And I know there was so much that went on behind the scenes that we don't all see. I echo Councilwoman Belcher's comments. Thank you all who were able to join. I know some people had some conflicts and weren't able to be there. But it was really such a lovely event, and I hope we get to do more of those together. Second, the Senior Citizens Advisory Board met for the first time this fall. A couple of quick announcements. They're hosting a wonderful trip to see MJ the Musical in the city. Registration for that is on September the 26th at 10:30 a.m. in person at the Rhoda Center. So if you have friends, family members who may be interested in signing up, I think it's only the first 50 who register who are eligible to attend. I think it'll be a wonderful event. That's it for now.
Deputy Mayor, the next order of business is council listed items. And first up is installation of additional electric car charging stations at municipal lots. Mr. Schwartz.
Yes, Ms. Manager, you and I have discussed this a little bit. If you may not know this offhand, and I apologize. The chargers outside here were the first test that we did. We put 2 of them out here. Who pays for that? Do you recall? Does anyone recall who pays for it?
We actually have a contract with them, with the company ChargePoint, and we do pay, but we also do incur, fees to come back to the town.
Okay, so I'm saying the end user does pay for the charge.
Correct.
Okay, great. So the question is, that was a pilot and we looked great. Can we look into doing that if we're some nodding heads at some other, some of our municipal lots? The small ones may not only not make sense, but by losing spaces that we can barely afford, but definitely the big ones, if we can maybe reach out to them. A few companies reached out to me when they saw me put it online as well, but I have not yet reached out. I think that'd be an excellent idea as that's becoming more and more popular in town, the Teslas.
Sure. No problem.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. A quick note that the Voti Park splash pad will not be open this upcoming weekend. It is now closed for the season. This Thursday, September 26th, the council is hosting a speed friending event to meet me, your new township manager. Please come and share your new ideas. You can also converse with some of our council members while you're there. It's a nice event. It'll be at the Rhoda Center from 6 to 8 p.m. We look forward to seeing you there. Please join the Environmental Commission, DPW, and town officials for our town cleanup day scheduled for October 6th from 12 noon to 2 p.m. All volunteers will meet at the Rhoda Center for cleanup assignments. Please refer to the QR code or link on your website to sign up. Our townwide garage sale is September 28th and 29th. The rain dates are October 5th and 6th. Be sure to sign up no later than Friday morning, September 27th, so we can publish your address on the township's Google map. Please be advised that Cedar Lane from Teaneck Road to Hackensack border is scheduled to be paved mid-October. Proper signage, notification, and detours will be in place. We ask for everyone's patience while we complete this project on a very busy road, and we encourage you to plan alternate routes once the dates are shared for the project. Teaneck will be hosting flu clinics this fall for Teaneck residents only. Standard and high dose will be available. There is a flyer online and on social media to refer to for the specifics. I do have a grant update for you. Our fire department received a training trailer as a result of a FEMA shared service grant with Englewood and Hackensack. This trailer will be used for training throughout the year. I have a couple project updates I'd like to share with you. Our library renovation is currently underway. Please visit teanecklibrary.org for any additional information we will have continuous updates on the renovation process. The Votee Park Shed and Shelter project is now complete. Engineering proposals for the Bell Avenue Drainage Project are submitted and the design will be underway. This includes the bioswales and the detention tank scheduled for installation in Sagamore Park. Drainage and curb work at Hemlock Terrace is now complete. Paving is scheduled for next week. The curb work for the gravel parking area on Palisade Avenue across from Votee Park is reaching completion as well. Palisade Avenue Improvement Project, to include grading, crosswalks, and drainage improvements, is set to go out to bid on October 8th. I also have an update on the intersection of Grayson and Prince. The DPW did confirm that larger double-sided stop signs were installed several weeks ago, and also the stop line. A tree in question has been removed to assist with a sightline concern. The bus stop signage is not recommended by the police department at this time, but we're going to continue to monitor that. We are also going to have some shrubs taken care of in that area to assist with the sightline issue that was brought to my attention. I would now like to provide a brief PowerPoint presentation in reference to our Bell Avenue Drainage Project. I have been working diligently with our township engineer to ensure we can provide a more accurate timeline for the future of this project. Doug, if you can post that for me, thank you. Drainage complaints and street flooding in the area of Bell Avenue and Beatrice Street and Bell Avenue and Beverly Road were reported during Tropical Storm Ida in 2021. The Township Council and Manager met with residents of the impacted area the second week of October 2021 and initiated a drainage study. The study results and recommendations were shared in April of 2022 with residents and township management. There were 3 recommendations: a 90,000-gallon detention system in Sagamore Park, improve the abrupt bend in the piping system at Bell Ave and Beverly Road, and install bioswales in select locations. Progress to date: a 30,000-gallon 9-foot by 4-foot culvert was installed at the abrupt bend under the sidewalk at Bell Avenue and Beverly Road intersection in February 2023, costing about $500,000. This significantly improved the flooding situation. A minor diversion application was initiated with NJDEP to install the detention system in Sagamore Park. A $1.06 million grant application was submitted and approved to fund the detention system in Sagamore Park. A $280,000 grant application was submitted and approved for bioswales. The next image you're looking at is the Sagamore Park detention system. This is a diagram to show you how we broke down the minor diversion application, grant application, design, and construction. This is a timeline that'll show Q3 of 2022 all the way till Q4 of 2025. Pre-application meeting with DEP to discuss the project took place in August of 2022. We submitted initial application to DEP in October of 2022. The initial application was approved the following condition: compensation must be in the form of land replacement or a contribution to the Garden State Preservation Trust. The township started looking for land replacement options and the updated ROSI to identify land availability for replacement. The ROSI was completed in July of 2024. Township offered 100 Home Street to NJDEP in August of 2024. DEP notified us of a mandatory task list to be completed for the land replacement in reference to Home Street. This process was estimated to take upwards of 6 to 12 months. Township plans to offer the assessed value to NJDEP to expedite this drainage project. If the assessed value is offered, the following timeline is possible. Final application approval by NJDEP will be this October, mid-October. Permission to proceed with public hearing will be around October 23rd. The public hearing meeting will be by the end of November, and all submission information to NJDEP by the beginning of January 2025. That permit application will be on the March agenda for the State House Commission meeting for approval. That meeting is similar to a council meeting, for those of you that don't know, and that will have a resolution on there for this to proceed forward. The Sagamore Park Detention System, the funding, March of 2022, we submitted an initial application to Senator Booker, Senator Menendez, and Congressman Gottheimer's offices to consider the congressionally directed spending community project funding. In May of 2023, the federal budget was approved and the township learned that the project was included as an appropriation from the EPA and that further instructions would be forthcoming in the coming months. July to October 2023, the township engineer and EPA worked on a KTEX documentation. That's an environmental process part of the application. The EPA then contacted the township to finalize the project details. In December of 2023, the township submitted the required checklist and signed the letter requesting an EPA KTEX determination. The township was also given instructions from the EPA on the next steps to filling out the full work plan application. That application will outline the process of the actual project in detail from start to finish. January to May 2024, the grant writers worked with the township to obtain access to the grant portal to find the required forms and application materials. In June of 2024, the grant writers submitted the full work plan application to the EPA through the grant portal. In July 2024, the EPA reached out with some application revisions, including revisions to our work plan, submitting a cost share acknowledgement letter, and submitting an updated required form. All requested revisions were completed, which were approved by the EPA. The grant application has moved forward, and now we are waiting final approval so we can officially begin work. I will report that I did hear back today that we are still on task for the September 30th date to close out this application for the full funding from EPA. The next slide, Doug, is in reference to our bioswales. This is just, we are going to do both projects, the design phase for both projects in tandem, and this just shows you the dates and the quarters of how we're going to finish the bioswales. The timeline will be outlined on the second to last slide of this project, giving you the amount of months for each part of the bioswale installation. I also wanted to just simplify. I know I gave a lot of information, and the next two slides will outline everything I just recited to you so you have a better understanding. And if you have any questions in the future, you can reach out to me. But our main goal here is to start design. The proposal is on our meeting today. So we are going to be working on design for both the detention tank and also the bioswales. We will then move to go out to bid at the beginning of 2025, Q1, and then we will start building in the spring of 2025. At that point, we are looking for completion in the Q4 of 2025. By us not using the swapping the property on Home Street, we are saving time of about 6 to 12 months. And that is also in the notes within the slides. So I just wanted to let you know that that is the procedure. We're going to design, we're going to go out to bid, we're going to go start building, and then we are going towards completion. So we do have a proper plan in place. This is just to give you sort of a timeline and a PowerPoint to refer to and ask me any questions that you might have. So this will be posted on our website tomorrow for your reference, and feel free to reach out to me anytime for questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hashmat. Mr. Salmon, Attorney's Report. Salmon. Our next order of business is our public hearing and adoption of ordinances. Mr. Clerk, can you please read the title of the ordinances into the record?
Yes, sir. We have two ordinances that we are seeing again this evening, Mayor, Council, Public. Ordinance number 23-2024. authorizing the sale of town property known as 1478 Sylvan Terrace. We have ordinance number 24-2024, authorizing the sale of town property known as 416 New Bridge Road.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The public hearing on these ordinances and these ordinances alone are now open. Any member of the public wishing to be heard on these ordinances will be called on and will state their names for the record. Comments and questions shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in chambers who wants to speak about these two ordinances? Seeing no hands, Doug, is there anyone on Zoom? Public hearing is closed. Does anyone on council want to talk about this?
No, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinances number 23 and 24 of 2024.
Second, Mr. Clerk.
Councilman Schwartz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Belcher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Goldberg,
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor G,
Yes.
Mayor Pagan.
Yes.
Adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Our next order of business is good and welfare. Any member of the public wishing to be heard at this time will be called on and will state their names for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in chambers? Mr. Yuck.
Good evening, everybody. Philip Yuck, Bell Avenue. So I want to, first of all, thank Councilwoman Goldberg for actually doing the legwork for finding the money to start this project moving. The flooding situation, as you well know, has existed prior to my moving to Teaneck 45 years ago. I met with engineers multiple times on my block. Everybody agreed there was a problem. We live at the bottom of a bowl. It's not a flood zone. The problem has to do with infrastructure. So we're optimistic that the new manager will move this project forward as quickly as possible, and we're hoping that there won't be any flooding from now until then, though who knows, because which I thought was 40,000 gallons, the 30,000 gallon culvert that was installed on Beverly Road was actually a stopgap measure. And if I can correct the manager, there were actually 4 pieces to the original proposal that was presented to us. And the 4th piece was a 100,000 gallon tank in the Beverly Road parking lot. So that's important for you to know, because the 30,000 gallons that was installed as a stopgap measure did not solve our flooding problem. People have experienced flooding this summer several times, and I think Chris will probably talk about that. So we're just holding our breath and looking forward to this finally coming to an end, so that we can sleep at night when it rains, and I can finally rebuild my basement, which I won't do until I am certain that the street won't flood anymore. So that's pretty much it. It'll be a new day on Bell Avenue, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yuck. Mr. Darrell Green.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Darrell Green, Teaneck resident. And I'd like to ask, Teaneck is going through some tough times. We've got some growing pains. I've been a Teaneck resident since 1976, and I like to kind of revisit some of the things we used to have in the past. We had something in Bergenfield known as the rink. And one of the things I like to see if we can do in Teaneck is to bring a roller rink, possibly in Votee Park. We got a lot of our kids that want to sit down and, get back to exercise. Some of our folks that are in their senior years can remember, some of those good times. So I'd like to see if that's possible, if we can possibly think about the installation of a roller rink in Votee Park. Just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Mr. Brown. Please feel free to start.
I'll start. All right. Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pagan. As Phil mentioned before, thank you all for supporting the Sagamore drainage, the Sagamore Park tanks for our drainage issues. August was a difficult month for everyone. Me personally, I mean, I took about 10 grand in damages due to excessive groundwater. So it was frustrating, and it was just a really to say frustrating, I think, is underselling it. I'd say infuriating. Specifically, Councilwoman Goldberg, thank you for a spending I don't know how many hours on the phone discussing this issue. I'm surprised you're still taking my calls. Thank you. And then lobbying with the congressman's office and the EPA and helping sort out the location of the EPA grant. So thank you, Councilwoman Oregon. Thank you also for hearing us, and I'm just speaking for myself, me out over text and in person on that beautiful Saturday morning. Appreciate the time and your ear. Mayor Began, thank you for the phone calls that you made as well to the EPA and to the Congressman's office. It's appreciated. It's a team effort. And Ms. Hashmat, as a fellow public servant, I think you're doing a great job. You're not gonna hear that often. People are gonna come up, they're gonna complain. But I see the responses that you send, the empathy that you send those responses with. It's very much appreciated. And the fact that you're on top of this, I will tell you that I feel confident in the direction that we're going with these improvements. And I think that's in no small part because of your leadership on this and following through. So thank you very much. So yeah, it's a long time coming. And thank you all. So much appreciated, and look forward to a groundbreaking in the spring, and we'll celebrate and we'll have a beautiful block party. So thank you all. Oh, actually, while I have my time, Phil mentioned this, just to clarify, the drainage study recommended 100,000 gallon tank in the Beverly lot. The culvert was one thing. The culvert wasn't actually a recommendation, but the larger improvement would be the detention tanks or another system, some other upgrade in the Beverly lot. That is, I believe, phase 2 in the drainage study. So just let's keep that in mind. So thanks a lot.
I have Michael Klatsky. Please unmute.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'd like to start by echoing some of the sentiments by my neighbor Chris Brown. I think that the work that our Ms. Hashman has done as a new township manager is incredible. The amount of time and effort it goes into processing all these grant applications, working with the federal agencies on your environmental reviews to do a simple tank in a park is unbelievable. And the way that you presented it tonight is just incredible. It's a really great progress report for everyone who lives in the neighborhood. Everybody wants to know what's going on. There's been quite a lot of work happening behind the scenes, and it's quite clear now. I want to thank you for your effort for both, spearheading this, shepherding it through, I'm sure you've had your grant team, and your engineers work like, burning the midnight oil, getting stuff in before deadlines for the EPA to review it, to not respond to you for a month, to tell you need to do something by tomorrow and all that. And, it's important, I think, for all of us, in our neighborhoods where we do see this flooding, to really show our appreciation. So we want to thank you and all the staff in the town and all your consultants that have worked to make this happen. And also to thank all the members of the council who have given all their support for the township staff to make this possible. So thank you all for that. And I hope that this construction schedule for 2025 in Sagamore Park goes and is smooth sailing. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
Good evening, Rebecca Feinberg of 884 Bell Avenue. I also want to echo thank you very much to Councilwoman Goldberg, who is the person who took a full day out of her personal work schedule to make these calls and actually find out that we had the grant money already from the EPA. I do want to ask, I appreciate the presentation that was given this evening, but given it's my understanding that this money was actually granted from the EPA in 2023, and it's only because Councilwoman Goldberg took her personal workday to harass them into getting an answer and finding out that we had this money. I want to give a polite and gentle nudge to make sure this project actually happens and stays on track, because if it can take a whole year to find out we've already been granted money, I'm concerned about actually meeting deadlines and seeing things happen in the next year. Like Chris, I took tremendous damage in the last few months. If we had found out a year earlier that we had this money, I could have avoided 7 floods in my basement. That's 7 opportunities for mold to grow that my daughter and I are breathing in our house. That's 7 very expensive encounters, as well as having to add a second sump pump and contract someone to put in additional draining at my own expense, things that shouldn't have to have happened, particularly given the fact that this money existed and had already been given to us a year before we even found out. So I'm hoping that this project does actually move along with the speed that Ms. Hashmat has presented tonight, and sorry, she's not screaming, but I'm tremendously concerned about that actually happening, given the slowness with which we have procured the money, or at least found out that we procured the money. And I do, again, Hillary, a full day of your personal work time to get this done. Thank you very much.
Amrit Ramzatat. Too close. I'm here again requesting an update to section 3329, fences and retaining walls for fences on corner lots. I managed to have a meeting with a new zoning officer to discuss this, and a big thank you to the township manager for arranging that. We both concluded that it's simply a bulk restriction that's causing the issue. No matter what safety you manage to prove, it simply states that the fence facing the street, which provides privacy for your backyard, has to be 50% open. It's not safety, it's just a definition. I fail to see the logic in it, and I think you all do as well. I think as a township, we can all agree that when installing a fence, it's for privacy and security. Nothing should be more private than someone's backyard. No code in the township should be at the cost of one's privacy. In fact, you have to pay for the privilege of challenging the code to attempt a waiver. Now I ask, how many people will be able to advocate for themselves to properly challenge the township code? How many people will even bother? The answer is not enough. Now I'm going to lean on the mothers in the room. This is one demographic I know that can bring about change. Can you imagine having a fence for your backyard be open enough where anyone on the street can simply see into your yard, where your children play, or your family are trying to enjoy their day? I doubt you could convince a mother this is necessary and can't be changed for the better. It just creates a broader security risk than we realize. So now as we're approaching election season, I have a couple of questions for the council. Who amongst you stands for the right to privacy? Who amongst you stands for saving residents money? This seems like it should be right up your alley. If anything, this would be a very minor update that just separates the 2 front yards. Call it a new definition or minor update. The site triangle section in 3315 already enforces safety, and the zoning officer already has the tools necessary to enforce a site easement. I know there's a happy medium here we can reach as a township. Now, if I can't convince you based on logic, privacy, or saving money, maybe I can convince you based on saving the chickens. Nothing is safer for a chicken than an enclosed fence. It'll at least keep foxes and raccoons out of your yard. Just something for the council to think about, and thank you for your time.
In that case, good and welfare is closed. Mr. Schwartz.
Much. First of all, let's go right to the fence variance. I thank you for meeting with the zoning officer, which I suggested. Thank you for setting it up. If there's some language that they want to draft into a variance or into a resolution or ordinance for the town to council to entertain, that's great. Obviously the chicken rule is important, which is if you ask for over 1 year every meeting and then use the word chickens, you usually get it. So good job there. So if we can please work on a draft, that'd be great. And thank you very much for everyone for bearing with the town as it relates to Bell Avenue. I'm happy to hear that's coming to fruition. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Goldberg. And I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Ms. Belcher.
I want to just thank the neighbors for coming out tonight and expressing your concerns. First off, for Bell Avenue, yes, it is, it's happy news. There's a lot of hands that were working behind the scenes to include our task force for, looking at grants and identifying things like that. I do appreciate that we're seeing some resolution and that we do have a timeline, and I appreciate the town manager for putting that together. It's nothing better than seeing in real time what are the expectations of time and so forth, because I know it's what it feels like to suffer through flooding. I think it's one of the worst hazards that you can experience. So all of our hearts are with you, and most importantly, that we have found some resolution and some timeline that you can really look to in terms of expectation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Belcher. Ms. Organ.
So I had actually written down, I take notes because I don't like to read because it's not me, and I had written down Block Party Bell Avenue before you said it. I love seeing smiles on your faces. I also hope this all comes to fruition, and I agree 100%. I love the way that the new manager approaches projects from start to finish, detail-oriented, presents them, and is empathetic to residents. I also would love to see language. I know that you've been sitting through every meeting, and I've come to the yard and I've seen it. And I understand not wanting to put a generality down there for every yard. I've seen yours, so maybe we can get some language that applies to yours, but not to every yard. I don't know how to do that. We're gonna have to ask the lawyer, but I've said to you, in your case, it makes sense to me. I don't know how we do that and not in other cases. But maybe we can look at some language and see how to make that work.
Goldberg.
Yep, I'm just gonna be very quick. So to the Bell Avenue neighbors, thank you for your appreciation. There's work on the days, but there is a significant amount of work off this in between meetings. So we'll always take the time. And I also just want to thank the manager for all of the work that she did. And, when I was able to get you in touch with the EPA, it was a great tag team. And I'm happy that we were able to do this for the residents. And I also just want to thank you for that PowerPoint, because that was amazing. I don't know if you can put it on the website. Great. Thank you.
Energy.
I want to shout out our town manager. That Gantt chart was so helpful, and having that timeline, that transparency. I don't think we've ever seen something so clearly done. And so just wanted to shout you out. That was awesome. And I'm so happy to hear from the Bell Avenue residents that you're seeing this. And I'm very hopeful that we will have that Black Party in 2025 or however long it takes to get this done. I also am highly concerned that we lost money for a year. How does that happen? How do we not know that there's money that we have that's just sitting there? And I'm just wondering what other money is out there that we're unaware of. How do we make sure that doesn't happen again? So I think that's something that we should look into. I don't know if that's the task force that Denise has been talking about, but that is really deeply concerning. So yeah, just wanted to address those two things.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As always, thank you to everyone for coming out tonight and participating. Mr. Yuck and Mr. Brown, thank you, you both, and your neighbors for always being there to help us figure this out. And I am so happy to see some progress on this. And Amrit, we will get you that update, and thank you, because you absolutely have my vote on that fencing issue. With that said, Ms. Hashmat, is there anything you would like to add or say?
Yes, I just wanted to thank everyone for all the love and support tonight. It made me feel good that we made some progress. I think this was a great meeting. I also wanted to just update on Emirates and his fencing. We did have a really good meeting with our zoning officer, Adam, and we are going to speak with the chairman to try to move towards something in regards to his fence that we do think is kind of grandfathered in on that property and does look like we can kind of make an accommodation. So that is headed in the right direction, and we will hope to accommodate his situation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Hashmat. Our next order of business is the consent agenda, and all matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature by council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If any discussion is desired by council, that particular item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Mr. Clerk, can you please read the amount of the bill list into the record?
Absolutely, sir. Again, we have our consent agenda, two sets of minutes, resolutions 274 to 281-2024, and the bills list in the amount of $619,794. The
Thank you,
smallest
Mr.
bills
Clerk.
list we've had all year.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I move to table 274, Resolution 274 for some further research. And then I make a motion after that to adopt the consent agenda.
Second on the table, second on adoption.
Councilman Schwartz,
Yes and all.
Councilwoman Belcher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Goldberg,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor G,
Yes.
Mayor Pagan,
Yes.
all adopted
And-
except for 274, which is tabled.
That said, Mr. Clerk, I think there is no more business, so I move to adjourn.
Second Schwartz.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. We hope you have a safe evening.
9:15.
15
9:15.
Yes, you know she's texting right now. You see she's texting. Yes.
Jackie, you're never allowed to leave.